God's chosen ones. Listen closely. No delays, no hesitation. This moment matters. The title you saw wasn't just decoration, it was a wake-up call, a signal meant to shake your spirit awake before life pushes you past a point you can't reverse. And before I go deeper, hit the like button right now, not as a habit, but as a mark of awareness. And subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls walking the same path of clarity, strength, and purpose. If your heart is already stirring, drop 777 in the comments. Let it be your first step of alignment. Chosen one. There's a silence inside you that's been carrying too much. A silence that's been absorbing pain, judgment, pressure, expectations. The kind that piles up until even breathing feels heavy. You've been pretending you're fine, holding everything together for people who don't even see the weight you carry. Smiling while your spirit drifts further away from what you were meant to become. But right here, right now, something shifts. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you finally stop ignoring the voice within you that's been whispering, "Wake up, something is changing. Don't miss it." This message isn't a warning of doom. It's a reminder of worth. A reminder that your heart has been calling for a turning point, and you've been brushing it aside, thinking it's not the right time. Chosen ones always wait for the right time. But the truth is, the right time rarely announces itself. It appears in a moment that feels too tense, too loud, too confusing. And that's exactly what today is. If you feel your chest tightening a little, that's normal. It's the sound of your spirit recognizing truth after being numb for too long. Drop another 777 in the comments if that hit you. Let the shift anchor itself. Listen. You've spent too many nights lying awake, replaying your past mistakes as if they define your identity. You've spent too many mornings fighting through exhaustion, carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours alone. You've held yourself to standards so high that even angels would tremble under them. But here's the reality. You're not here to break. You're here to rise, and rise now, before it's too late. Because too late isn't about missing blessings. It's about missing yourself, missing who you were becoming while you were busy surviving. Chosen one, survival has been your default mode for too long, and survival is not your destiny. Breathe for a moment. Feel your shoulders loosen. Let your mind settle. This message wasn't sent to scare you. It was sent to steady you. And if your hands feel a little warm or your chest feels tight, that's not fear, that's recognition. Something in you has waited years to hear words that don't talk down to you, but speak to you. Because deep down, you know you're not average. You've always known. The world tried to convince you otherwise. People tried to shrink you, life tried to numb you, but all it did, all of it, was sharpen you. Drop 777 again if you can feel that truth landing. Chosen one. There are signs you've been ignoring, moments you brushed off because you thought they were coincidence. Shifts in your environment you felt but didn't interpret. Sudden restlessness, sudden clarity, sudden disconnect from people you once trusted, sudden pull toward things you used to fear. Sudden sense that something big is approaching, but you can't name it. That's not chaos. That's preparation. Your spirit has been adjusting itself for a new chapter, and every uncomfortable thing you've faced lately wasn't punishment. It was positioning. But here's where things get serious. Ignoring this shift would cost you, not in a dramatic way, but in a slow, subtle, painful way that steals years instead of seconds. And you don't have years to waste anymore. Not with what you carry, not with who you're becoming, not with what's been waiting for you on the other side of this version of you. So listen carefully. When a chosen one reaches this moment, this exact emotional threshold, life starts testing them harder than ever. Not because they're weak, but because they're close. close to alignment, close to breakthrough, close to peace that doesn't disappear when life gets loud, close to strength that doesn't depend on applause. You're closer than you think. That's why everything feels heavier. Pressure increases right before transformation. Heat rises right before gold takes shape. Don't walk away now. Don't numb yourself again. Don't drift back into old habits that kept you small. Hit the like button if you're still here. Because staying this long means something in you is waking up for real. And if your spirit is buzzing, if your mind is sharpening, if your heart feels like it's being pulled forward, keep watching. Don't move. Don't scroll. Don't break this moment. Because what comes next is the part most people never hear in time. The shift you're feeling isn't random. It's the kind of turning point that shows up only a few times in a lifetime, and only to people strong enough to carry what comes after it. Chosen one, stay with me. Something inside you has been stretching quietly, like a thread pulling tight, waiting for the moment you finally stop pretending you don't feel the pull. That tension isn't stress, it's direction. It's life nudging you forward in a way you can't ignore anymore. Your spirit knows when it's time to rise. Your body knows when it's time to change. Your mind knows when it's tired of old cycles. And right now, all three are speaking at once. Let them. Because this next part of your journey won't be about surviving the storm. It will be about understanding why the storm came to you in the first place. Chosen one, listen. There are chapters in your life you haven't processed yet. Moments that shaped you but never received a voice. You brushed them off. You hid them. You tried to forget them. But the weight of unspoken truth doesn't disappear. It settles. And today, it's rising back up. Not to haunt you, but to free you. You can't carry what's next while holding on to what hurts. You can't build a future with the tools you forged in desperation. You can't move into a season of clarity with a heart still cluttered from old battles. So let this next part speak to the pieces of you you've kept hidden. Chosen one, you have a habit of minimizing your own resilience. You think the moments you survived weren't that big of a deal because other people have it worse. But that is the voice of someone who's had to grow too fast, too early, for too long. Pain doesn't measure itself. It lives where it lives, and you endured yours with a strength people around you never understood. There were nights you kept going while running on nothing but instinct. There were mornings you got up when your chest felt too heavy to lift. There were days when you carried emotional weight that would have crushed someone who wasn't built like you. The world may never know the full story of what you pushed through, but your spirit does. And it remembers everything. Chosen one, take a breath. For once, stop trying to be strong and just be honest with yourself. You're tired, not weak, tired. There's a difference. Weakness breaks, tiredness rebuilds. What you're feeling right now isn't collapse. It's renewal knocking on the inside of your bones, asking you to stop running and actually listen. Because your next level doesn't require more force. It requires awareness. Let's go deeper. There are moments in your past when you felt unseen, unheard, overlooked. People applauded your endurance but ignored your exhaustion. They loved the strength you gave but never questioned the cost of giving it. And you, the chosen one, kept pushing anyway. But here's what you never realized. Every hardship planted something in you that didn't bloom at the time, but is about to. The loneliness you endured sharpened your intuition. The betrayals refined your discernment. The losses expanded your capacity for purpose. The disappointments taught you to trust timing instead of forcing outcomes. You thought those seasons were breaking you. They weren't. They were chiseling away everything that wasn't meant to stay. And that's why this message is reaching you now. You're entering a season where nothing stays the same, where the things you outgrew can no longer hide behind habit, where the old version of you begins to shed itself, cell by cell, layer by layer, until only what's real remains. Chosen one, you've changed more than you realize. People around you feel it before you do. Some are inspired by it. Some are intimidated by it. Some try to ignore it. But everyone senses it. Because elevation never happens quietly. It shakes the air around you. It shifts the energy in every room you enter. It disturbs the people who benefited from your silence. It wakes the parts of you that forgot you were allowed to want more. And now, something else is stirring. Direction. Not the kind you dream about, but the kind that sits in your chest like a steady pulse. You've been feeling drawn towards something, but you can't name it yet. That's because clarity always comes after obedience. Never before. Keep listening. Chosen one, your identity is evolving, not into someone new, but into someone real. You're losing the parts of yourself that were built from survival. You're shedding patterns that were born out of fear. You're outgrowing relationships that stayed small while you grew wide. You're releasing attachments that were only meant to teach you, not stay with you. You're stepping into a version of yourself that no longer apologizes for existing. This shift isn't arrogance, it's alignment. You spent years dimming yourself so others wouldn't feel overwhelmed. You spent years shrinking your needs so others wouldn't leave. You spent years accepting less because you thought it was safer than losing everything, but now you're realizing something powerful. Playing small doesn't protect you, it suffocates you. Chosen one, every time you ignored your intuition, you paid for it in pain. Every time you settled, you felt a piece of yourself drift further away. Every time you lowered your standards, life mirrored that choice back to you. But the moment you raise your internal ceiling, everything around you rises with it. And that's where you are now, in the rise, in the stretch, in the shift. Let me take you further. There is a strength inside you you haven't activated yet. Not the strength people see, the resilience, the endurance, the ability to get up after every setback. I'm talking about a different strength, the one you only discover when you stop fighting the world and start aligning with purpose. This strength doesn't roar, it resonates, it doesn't rush, it roots, it doesn't react, it perceives. And once it wakes up, nothing external can shake you again. Chosen one, pay attention to your recent patterns. Why are you suddenly uninterested in conversations that drain you? Why do certain people feel heavy even when they haven't done anything wrong? Why does noise bother you more than before? Why do you crave solitude? Why do you feel pulled to let certain things go without explanation? It's not mood, it's transformation. Your spirit is reorganizing your environment, removing what can't go with you, softening your grip on what kept you stagnant, redirecting your energy toward what nourishes you. This isn't boredom, it's evolution. And evolution always begins internally, long before the external world catches up. Chosen one, you're entering a phase where your silence becomes your strategy. Not because you're withdrawn, but because you're listening, really listening to your instincts, to your discomfort, to your internal compass that refuses to be ignored anymore. For the first time in a long time, you're not trying to fix things, you're trying to understand them. That is growth most people never reach, and it sets you apart. Look closely at your life. Certain doors closed lately, didn't they? Some ended abruptly. Others faded quietly. A few felt like losses, but each one was protection disguised as disruption. You're being pulled away from what drains you and pulled toward what strengthens you, even if you don't see the full picture yet. Chosen one, your purpose is expanding, your awareness is sharpening, your energy is rising, your surroundings are shifting, your seasons are turning, your path is opening. And right now, in this moment, something inside you knows this isn't random. It never was. Stay here. Stay with me. Because what you're about to hear next will shift the way you move through the world in a way you won't be able to unlearn. Chosen one, there's a part of your journey you haven't fully acknowledged yet. The part where you learn to carry endings without losing yourself. Most people fear endings. They cling to routines that drain them, cling to relationships that limit them, cling to identities that shrink them, because letting go feels like falling. But you've been learning something deeper. You've learned that endings are not exits. They are invitations. They're the quiet shift between who you were and who you're becoming. They're the moment you realize the ground beneath you isn't collapsing, it's clearing. And that realization is changing you more than you admit. Chosen one, let's go into the part of you that outgrew things before you understood why. There were conversations that used to excite you, but now they feel empty. There were places that once made you feel alive, but now your energy recoils before you even arrive. There were people whose approval you once chased, but now you can't bring yourself to care. This isn't coldness, this isn't distance, this is evolution. Your spirit no longer matches the frequency of what once fed it. In the moment that happens, your life quietly rearranges itself without asking permission. That's where you are right now, in the rearranging. Chosen one, you're entering the stage where clarity becomes uncomfortable. You're starting to notice who drains you. You're starting to notice who listens to respond instead of understand. You're starting to notice whose presence tightens your chest instead of softening it. You're starting to realize who only loved the version of you that served them. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. But don't fear this clarity. It's not here to break your world. It's here to filter it. Let the filter work. Because what's coming next requires space. Real space. Not emotional leftovers, not half-healed wounds, not one-sided commitments, not forced loyalty. Space that belongs to the version of you you're stepping into. Chosen one, there's a truth you've ignored for years. You do not need to carry everything. You are conditioned to believe that strength means bearing every burden, fixing every problem, absorbing every blow, holding everyone together, even when you are falling apart. But true strength isn't about endurance. It's about wisdom. It's about knowing when to stay, when to step away, when to release yourself, and when to reclaim yourself. And right now, this moment is asking you to reclaim part of you left behind. Parts you silenced so others could feel louder. Parts you dimmed so others wouldn't feel threatened. Parts you hid because they made someone uncomfortable. Those parts are rising again, not loudly, but steadily. You can feel them waking up beneath your ribs, like a quiet push from the inside telling you, you can't stay who you were. Chosen one, listen to that voice. It's not fear, it's alignment trying to break through the noise. There's a reason you feel restless. There's a reason your spirit feels too big for the life you're living. There's a reason your dreams feel heavier lately, like they're asking you to stop ignoring them. It's because you've reached the emotional threshold where pretending costs more than changing. And when pretending becomes heavier than truth, transformation becomes unavoidable. Let's go deeper. You've mastered suppressing your own needs. You know how to stay quiet when you want to speak. You know how to smile when your heart is exhausted. You know how to show up for others even when no one shows up for you. But here's the unspoken truth. Those skills were built from survival, not purpose. They helped you back then. They limit you now. The next chapter of your life won't require you to shrink. It will require you to stand. Not aggressively, not loudly, but fully. Chosen one, there's a strength in you that's been dormant. Not because you're afraid of it, but because you've forgotten how powerful stillness can be. Stillness is not avoidance. Stillness is clarity. Stillness is focus. Stillness is preparation. It's the moment the archer pulls the bowstring back. Quiet, steady, controlled. Before releasing something unstoppable. That's where you are. In the pullback. In the tension before acceleration. in the space where direction takes shape. Chosen one. Don't confuse stillness with stagnation. You are not stuck. You are aligning. You're learning to stop moving out of fear and start moving out of intention. You're shifting from reaction to awareness, from impulse to intuition, from survival to purpose. And that shift is building a foundation inside you that no chaos can shake. Now pay close attention. People around you will feel this change before you speak it. Some will admire it. Some will question it. Some will try to pull you back into the version of yourself that benefited them. Do not fold. Your growth will make some people uncomfortable because it exposes the parts of themselves they refuse to confront. Your boundaries will feel like betrayal to those who profited from your lack of them. Your truth will feel loud to those who relied on your silence. Your evolution will feel like distance to those who never intended to evolve with you. But none of that means you are wrong. It means you are no longer available for what drains you. And that, chosen one, is power. Let's move further. There's an inner shift happening that you haven't had words for. You're starting to desire depth instead of distraction, meaning instead of noise, connection instead of attachment, purpose instead of routine. This isn't a phase. This is awakening. Awakening isn't soft. It's disruptive. It shakes your identity, your patterns, your beliefs, your habits, your relationships, your tolerance. It forces you to question everything you used to call normal. Awakening asks, is this truly who you want to be or who you learned to be? And you're brave enough to answer. Chosen one, step into the truth of this moment. You're not breaking down. You are shedding. You are not lost. You are rerouting. You are not stagnant. You are incubating. You are not behind. You are being positioned. Everything that feels uncomfortable right now is shaping you into someone who stops surviving life and starts living it. Let the shift continue. Don't interrupt it. Don't run from it. Don't rush it. Because what rises from this phase, if you allow yourself to stay present, will become the version of you that no setback can dismantle. Chosen one, stay alert now. The next layer of this journey isn't about healing the past. It's about unlocking the power the past left behind, and that power is what comes next. Chosen one, there is a force inside you haven't fully recognized yet. A force built from every moment you survived when you had no guidance, no roadmap, no reassurance, nothing but instinct and a quiet conviction that you were meant for more than what you were walking through. That force didn't appear overnight. It was carved, layer by layer, through pressure. It was shaped by the days you held yourself together when the world felt too loud, too sharp, too heavy for a heart like yours. And now, that same force is rising again, not as defense, not as fear, but as capability. You don't need to become strong. You already are. But you're about to understand your strength in a way you never have before. Chosen one, pay attention. There's a shift happening in the way you respond to life. You're not as reactive as before. You're not pulled into drama as quickly. You don't entertain chaos the way you once did. You're starting to recognize that calm is not a luxury. It's a boundary. And life is beginning to mirror that back to you. Moments that once triggered you are now teaching you. People who once drained you are now revealing their purpose. Situations that once confused you are now clarifying your direction. This is the stage where you stop being shaped by your environment and start shaping it. Chosen one, this next part is for the version of you that always doubted whether your inner voice was real. You felt a pull your whole life to go deeper, to rise higher, to step out of patterns you knew were too small for your soul. But every time you tried, fear whispered louder than truth. Not because you weren't ready, but because transformation often feels like loss before it feels like expansion. You've reached the point where ignoring your intuition is more painful than following it. And that is how you know this shift is real. your inner voice is no longer a nudge. It's direction. Chosen one, let's talk about the part of you that knows how to read energy. You notice things before people speak them. You sense tension in a room before anyone admits it. You feel dishonesty in the pauses between someone's words. You can tell when intentions shift, even if actions stay polite. You've always had this gift, but you dismissed it because no one else could explain it. Now it's sharpening, and it's not sharpening randomly. It's sharpening because you're stepping into a season where discernment will protect you more than distance ever did. Discernment is how you avoid repeating cycles. Discernment is how you recognize who's aligned and who's temporary. Discernment is how you stop giving access to people who only consumed what you offered. Your energy has become too valuable to be poured into confusion. Chosen one, take a breath. There's another layer. You've been feeling disconnected from old versions of yourself. Not out of shame, but because they no longer match the path you're walking. The version of you that tolerated mistreatment is gone. The version of you that silenced your needs is gone. The version of you that feared disappointing others is fading. The version of you that accepted less than you gave is dissolving from your identity. What's left is someone who understands their worth without needing permission to acknowledge it. Let this sink in. You are no longer emotionally available for situations that make you smaller. You are no longer spiritually aligned with patterns that kept you limited. You are no longer mentally invested in cycles that stole your clarity. Your elevation is not subtle, even if you've tried to hide it. Chosen one. The reason people treat you differently now is because they can feel the shift before you speak it. Your silence carries weight. Your presence carries intention. Your boundaries carry authority. Your awareness carries truth. When a person evolves internally, their external world begins to rearrange itself around that evolution. That's what you're experiencing. Let's go deeper. There's a new kind of courage waking up inside you. The courage to walk away without guilt, without explanation, without hesitation. Not out of anger, but out of alignment. You're learning that peace is not something you wait for. Peace is something you choose. And every time you choose yourself, peace follows like a shadow. You're no longer chasing stability. You're creating it. Chosen one, here's the truth you've avoided. You're becoming someone who no longer needs external validation to move forward. You're learning to trust your own timing, your own voice, your own process. This is maturity, not the kind the world measures, but the kind your soul recognizes. A maturity that stabilizes your emotions. A maturity that refines your decisions. A maturity that protects your purpose. Now listen closely. You are entering a stage where your life will no longer reflect your wounds. It will reflect your wisdom. Your choices will come from clarity, not fear. Your relationships will come from alignment, not loneliness. Your opportunities will come from preparation, not desperation. This is not wishful thinking. This is what happens when a chosen one stops pretending they are ordinary. You are not ordinary. You never were. That's why your path has always felt different. That's why your journey has never matched anyone else's. That's why your challenges were heavier, not because you were being punished, but because you were being prepared. Pain sharpened your insight. Loss deepened your empathy. Silence strengthened your intuition. Loneliness cultivated your identity. Nothing was wasted. Not one moment. Not one heartbreak. Not one disappointment. All of it shaped the version of you reading these words right now. Chosen one, your next chapter won't require you to fight the way you used to. It will require you to understand. Understand what drains you. Understand what inspires you. Understand what aligns with your spirit. Understand what you refuse to accept anymore. Understand what your energy responds to. Understand where your peace feels safe. Understanding is the beginning of power, and you are stepping into a power many people never reach. because they never slowed down long enough to see themselves clearly. But you are seeing yourself now, fully, honestly, unapologetically. And that clarity will change the way you walk from here on out. Chosen one, the next layer of this shift is going to confront something you've avoided for years. Not because you feared it, but because you didn't know you were allowed to face it. That layer comes next. Chosen one, there is a part of you that has been waiting for acknowledgement. The part that carries truths you buried so deeply you forgot they were there. This is the layer where you finally confront the emotions you taught yourself to outrun. Not because you were weak, but because you had no space to feel them at the time. You were too busy surviving, too busy holding everyone else together, too busy pretending you were fine to slow down long enough to process what hurt you. But emotions don't disappear just because you silence them. They wait. They wait for the moment you're strong enough to face them without collapsing under their weight. And that moment is now. Chosen one, breathe. This part isn't here to break you. It's here to release you. There were times in your life when you weren't allowed to express pain, not because people were cruel, but because no one around you had the capacity to understand it. You learned to hide your sadness so you wouldn't be a burden. You learned to swallow your anger so you wouldn't be judged. You learned to minimize your wounds so you wouldn't seem dramatic. And through all of that silence, you became skilled at something dangerous. Pretending your emotions didn't matter. But they do. They always have. And they've been calling out inside you like an echo waiting for you to finally turn around and listen. This is the layer where listening becomes healing. Chosen one, let's go deeper. There are memories that live in the corners of your mind. Memories you rush past because stopping to feel them would force you to admit how much they shaped you. The moment you felt abandoned. The moment you felt unworthy. The moment you realized someone you trusted wasn't who you thought. The moment you learned you had to earn affection. The moment you discovered love could disappear without explanation. The moment you realized silence could hurt more than words. These moments built emotional armor around your heart. Armor you needed back then. Armor that kept you safe. Armor that helped you survive environments that didn't know how to hold you. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. You don't live in those environments anymore. You don't need that armor now. You don't need to be hardened to be protected. You don't need to be guarded to be safe. You don't need to be distant to be strong. Your spirit is evolving. Your walls must evolve with it. Chosen one. The reason you feel emotionally heavier lately is because your healing is trying to rise through the weight of everything you hid. Healing isn't polite. It doesn't schedule itself. It doesn't knock before entering. It arrives when you finally stop running. And you've stopped running. You may think you're tired, but what you're actually feeling is your soul exhaling after years of holding its breath. Let it breathe. Chosen one. This is the phase where you learn the difference between emotional suppression and emotional strength. Suppression is quiet denial. Strength is honest awareness. Strength says, I remember what happened, I feel what I feel, and I'm still choosing to move forward. This kind of strength cannot be taught. It emerges only after you face the emotional truths you were once afraid to acknowledge. Take another breath. We're not done. There's something else waking up within you. Something you've ignored because you feared embracing it would reopen wounds you spent years trying to close. But avoidance never healed anything. Understanding does. Chosen one. Let's talk about the deepest layer of all, your relationship with yourself. There were times when you loved others better than you loved you. Times when you were gentle with everyone except yourself. Times when you gave grace to others, but punished your own heart for simply being human. You carry expectations inside you that no one could ever meet, not even you. You've held yourself to standards that don't leave room for rest, for mistakes, for softness, for growth. You've apologized for things that weren't your fault. You've tried to fix people you never broke. You've tried to mend situations you didn't damage. You've tried to heal wounds you didn't create. And somewhere along the way, you forgot that you deserve patience too. This is the moment where that changes. Chosen one, you are stepping into a chapter where self-respect becomes your language, where self-value becomes your posture, where self-understanding becomes your compass, where self-honesty becomes your foundation. You are learning to stop abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable. You are learning to stop sacrificing your peace to preserve relationships that don't feed you. You are learning to stop negotiating your worth with people who cannot afford it. This is not selfishness. This is self-return. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are not difficult. You are discerning. You are not distant. You are selective. You are not cold. You are protecting warmth from those who misuse it. You are not closed off. You are cautious because you know your heart is valuable. Everything about you that once felt like a flaw is becoming a strength. Your sensitivity is wisdom. Your solitude is clarity. Your boundaries are healing. Your intuition is direction. Your distance is protection. Your silence is power. And now, something new is rising. Something you haven't fully embraced yet. The courage to see yourself as worthy without waiting for anyone else to confirm it. Chosen one, you've spent your entire life trying to earn what was already yours. Respect, love, security, understanding, peace, belonging. But you are finally stepping into a place where you realize you don't earn those things. You embody them. Your worth is not conditional. Your value is not negotiable. Your presence is not accidental. Your strength is not temporary. Everything about you was built for longevity. Now the question becomes, what will you do with a version of yourself that you can no longer deny? That question opens the next layer. Chosen one, there is a turning point you haven't spoken about. A moment when you realized you could no longer live on autopilot, no longer push down your instincts, no longer pretend your spirit wasn't whispering for more. This moment didn't arrive with fireworks. It arrived quietly. In the middle of a conversation that felt off, in the middle of a day that felt too heavy, in the middle of a thought that wouldn't leave you alone. A simple shift, a subtle awareness, a silent understanding. And that understanding was this: I can't keep living the way I've been living, not because your life was falling apart, but because your soul was outgrowing its surroundings. Chosen one, this is the chapter where your inner world demands honesty from you. Not the surface level honesty you tell others, but the deeper truth you rarely say out loud. You've reached the threshold of who you used to be. And now your spirit is asking you to rise beyond everything you once accepted as normal. Let's step into that truth. You've noticed the shift in your desires. You want things that your past self wasn't ready for. You crave depth in places where you used to settle for distraction. You crave meaning in conversations that used to revolve around nothing. You crave alignment with people who don't drain your sanity. Your standards didn't become too high. Your spirit simply got tired of starvation. Chosen one, hear this. You're not picky. You're precise. You're not distant. You're intentional. You're not overthinking. You're finally thinking clearly. This is the first sign of internal elevation. You're becoming aware of how much of your life was built around compromise. Not because you lacked value, but because you lacked support. Now you're starting to question, who am I when I no longer shrink for anyone? That question alone is powerful enough to reshape your entire path. Chosen one, let's explore something deeper. You've begun to feel a pull towards environments that feel calm, towards conversations that feel honest, towards people who carry sincerity like a second skin. But most importantly, you're feeling a pull toward yourself. This is the season where you rediscover parts of you left behind. The creative part, the curious part, the passionate part, the intuitive part, the brave part, the joyful part. the part that wasn't shaped by trauma, but born from truth. You didn't lose that version of you. You simply buried them beneath responsibilities you never should have carried alone. And now, little by little, they're rising back to the surface. Chosen one, pay close attention to how your energy responds to your world. Your patience is thinner with dishonesty. Your spirit is louder around inconsistency. Your intuition is sharper around manipulation. Your discomfort intensifies around pretenders. Your peace rejects chaos faster than before. These aren't personality changes. These are spiritual upgrades. Your spirit refuses to settle for the noise it once tolerated. You've stretched too far internally to shrink externally ever again. Let's go deeper. There is a boldness forming inside you. A boldness that doesn't roar, but resonates. It shows up in small ways. You speak a little more honestly. You pause before saying yes to things you don't want. You tighten your boundaries without explaining them. You walk away from energy that feels unstable. You choose silence over forced connection. You choose presence over performance. This is how confidence actually begins. Not by shouting, not by proving anything, not by pretending, but by choosing yourself in moments where you used to abandon yourself. Chosen one, your growth is becoming undeniable. Look at how differently you move now. You're no longer impressed by superficial effort. You're no longer motivated by external approval. You're no longer controlled by fear of losing people. You're no longer shaken by temporary opinions. You're no longer sacrificing your peace for validation. This is the quiet transformation most people never reach. And it's only the beginning. There's another shift happening. Something rooted not in emotion, but in awareness. You're starting to see patterns you couldn't see before. Patterns in yourself, patterns in others, patterns in your relationships, patterns in your habits, patterns in your decisions. Awareness is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront not what others did to you, but what you allowed, what you ignored, what you dismissed, what you justified. But once you see truth, you can't return to blindness. That's the beauty and the burden of awakening. Chosen one, allow yourself to release the guilt of past choices. You weren't awake back then. You were learning, you were trying, you were surviving. Forgive the version of you who settled. Forgive the version of you who didn't speak up. Forgive the version of you who accepted less. Forgive the version of you who ignored red flags. Forgive the version of you who felt unworthy. Forgiveness doesn't excuse the pain. It releases you from carrying it. And you need that release for what comes next. Chosen one, your identity is stabilizing. You're no longer a reflection of your environment. You're becoming the source of your own meaning. You're becoming the anchor of your own truth. You're becoming the architect of your next chapter. This level of groundedness is rare. It doesn't come from comfort. It comes from learning to withstand emotional earthquakes without collapsing. That's what you've been doing. That's why your energy feels different. That's why your presence feels heavier. Not with burden, but with intention. You're no longer drifting through life. You're walking into it. Chosen one, there's another shift coming that will reshape your relationship with the world. A shift that involves direction, alignment, and purpose in a way you've never experienced before. That shift begins now. Chosen one, there is a shift in the way you perceive your future. Not through fantasies, not through fear, but through an inner pull that feels both unfamiliar and inevitable. For the first time in a long time, you're not looking ahead with anxiety. You're looking ahead with curiosity. This is the beginning of direction. You're no longer asking, what if things go wrong? You're beginning to ask, what if things finally go right? That single shift in perspective is the spark that ignites new paths. Chosen one, let's step into this new territory. There's a sense of urgency in your spirit, not the kind that pressures you, but the kind that awakens you. It's the feeling that something is waiting for you once you're brave enough to step toward it. It's the sense that opportunities you once overlooked are circling back for another chance. It's the awareness that the door you thought was closed was never locked to begin with. And now, your courage is finally reaching for the handle. Chosen one, pay attention to your recent thoughts. You've been thinking differently. You've been dreaming differently. You've been imagining possibilities you used to dismiss. You've been considering changes that once terrified you. This isn't impulsive. It's intuitive. Your future is calling you. Not loudly, but consistently. And the consistency is what makes it real. Let's go deeper. You've spent years living reactively, responding to chaos, responding to expectations, responding to life as it happened to you. But something inside you has shifted. You're no longer waiting for life to choose for you. You're choosing for yourself. You're choosing what aligns with your peace. You're choosing what honors your energy. You're choosing what elevates your spirit. You're choosing what feels true instead of what feels safe. This is how purpose begins to unfold. Chosen one, the world has taught you to fear uncertainty, but your spirit is teaching you something else. Uncertainty is the birthplace of transformation. You're stepping into a season where you may not have all the answers, but you finally trust your ability to find them. This trust is new for you. You didn't always have it. It grew from trial and error, from loss and recovery, from heartbreak and rebuilding. You earned it. You grew it. You became it. And now it's guiding you toward your next direction. Let's explore that direction. You've been feeling drawn towards something that doesn't fully make sense yet. A path, a calling, a shift, a purpose, a future that feels too big to describe. But you feel it anyway. You feel it in the way your interests are changing. You feel it in the way your dreams are evolving. You feel it in the way your environment feels too small. You feel it in the way your old routines feel outdated. You feel it in the way your soul is pushing you forward. This pull is not confusion, it's alignment. Chosen one, you're entering a phase where life will require your willingness. Your willingness to take steps even when you can't see the outcome. Your willingness to trust the path even when it feels unfamiliar. Your willingness to release old versions of yourself. Your willingness to outgrow what you once called home. Your willingness to become someone your past would not recognize. This is evolution in motion. Let's move deeper into the next layer. There is a realization rising inside you. The realization that you can no longer avoid your own potential. Potential used to scare you because you associated it with pressure. You associated it with expectations. You associated it with the fear of failing. But now, potential feels different. It feels like freedom. It feels like possibility. It feels like the version of you were always meant to become. And that version of you is closer than you think. Chosen one, consider the way you've been thinking lately. You've been questioning the limits you once lived by. You've been challenging the beliefs you inherited. You've been breaking mental patterns you didn't know you had. You've been confronting truths you avoided for years. Every mental shift is preparing you for a physical shift. Every physical shift is preparing you for a spiritual shift. Every spiritual shift is preparing you for a life that reflects your inner work. This is the beginning of alignment across every level of your being. Chosen one, there's a deeper truth you need to hear. Your life is not waiting for the perfect moment. It's waiting for your participation. You've spent years being cautious, hoping clarity would arrive first. But clarity isn't the starting point. Movement is. Progress creates clarity, not the other way around. And now, you're finally ready to move. Chosen one, observe the signs. You've been craving change without knowing where it leads. You've been losing interest in old routines. You've been drawn toward people with purpose. You've been desiring environments that feel nourishing. You've been feeling pulled to start something new. These aren't coincidences. These are indicators. Your future is unfolding through gentle shifts in your spirit. Let's go even deeper. There is a part of you that has always known you were meant to create something meaningful, something impactful, something that leaves a mark long after you're gone. But fear kept you from starting. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. Yet now, those fears don't control you like before. They're still there, but they no longer override your desire for growth. Desire is finally louder than fear. That is the threshold of transformation. Chosen one, your path isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for presence. Presence to notice the opportunities. Presence to listen to your intuition. Presence to recognize when something feels right. Presence to walk away when something feels wrong. Presence to act instead of waiting for someone else to decide your future. Presence is your power now. Chosen one. The next layer of your journey requires something you haven't fully embraced yet, the courage to trust your own decisions without apologizing for them. That courage is what comes next.